In this question, we've been asked to solve 2x squared minus 6x minus 1 equals 0 using the quadratic formula. So first things first, let's label the coefficient of x squared as a. So a equals 2, the number in front of the x squared is a. B is equal to the number in front of the x, so that's going to be b is equal to minus 6. And c is equal to the number on the end, so it's going to be minus 1. And let's write down the quadratic formula. So if you look at the front of the test paper, you'll find this: x equals minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And there's a little song you can watch to help you learn that as well. I think it's called the Quadratic Formula song. But anyway, it's on the front of your test. So we've got a is equal to 2, b is equal to minus 6, and c equals equal to minus 1. Now we're going to substitute these all into here. Now things I just want to say are: be very careful with the minus b, be very careful with the b squared, and be very careful with the 4ac. So let's do that. So we've got x equals, now it's minus b, so b is minus 6. So we've got minus 6. Now minus and a minus, so that's a plus, so we're just going to write 6 there, okay, because it was minus 6. Okay, then plus or minus, and then the square root of. Now see where it says b squared? Because b is a minus, you've got to be very careful here. You can't just write minus 6 squared and type that into the calculator, because the calculator will do, it'll do that as minus 36. But you know that minus 6 times minus 6 is 36, so the calculator will generally make a mistake with this. So my advice is, always put the b squared in a bracket, so minus 6, and then close bracket squared. Okay, if it's a minus, I put it in a bracket like so. That just reminds yourself, and whenever you're typing it into the calculator, you press bracket minus 6 close bracket squared. Okay, and then minus, and then again, see with the 4ac part, I put that all in one big bracket. It just really helps me whenever I'm working it out. Okay, so it's going to be 4 times a, which is 2, times c, which is minus 1. And that's all divided by 2a, and that's 2 times a, which is 2. Okay, so my advice is be careful with the minus b part. The b squared, because b is minus, put it in a bracket, and the 4ac, I always put that bit in a bracket. Just it really helps me with the negatives and the minuses and so on. Okay, so let's then simplify this bit under the square root sign. So we've got x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of, and minus 6 times minus 6 is 36. Okay, and then we've got then a minus sign for minus, and then let's do the bit inside the bracket. So the bit inside the bracket is 4 times 2 times minus 1. So 4 times 2 is 8, times minus 1 is minus 8. So I'm just going to put that in a bracket, minus 8. That just reminds me to do minus 8, minus 8, remember, which means plus 8. And all divided by 2a, well, 2 times 2 was 4. So we've got this part. Now let's do the bit under the square root sign. Now notice here I just don't type this in one go on my calculator. What I do is I do one little bit at a time and then work it out. So 6 plus or minus, now the square root of, we've got 36 minus 8. Well, it's going to be 36 plus 8, which is equal to 44. I'm just going to write that a bit more tidily. 44. And that's all divided by 4. Now here then we're going to work this bit out. So we've got that. Now see we've got 6 plus root 44 divided by 4 and 6 minus root 44 divided by 4. So let's work out those two answers. So the first one is, I'll change pen to red here. So the first one is, we've got x equals 6 plus root 44 over 4, or we've got x equals 6 minus root 44 over 4. Let's work out what that's going to be. So I'm just going to type this into my calculator. I'm going to do 6 plus the square root of 44 equals, divided by 4 equals, and then I press the SD button and I get 3.158. And then we've got 6 minus root 44 equals, divided by 4 equals, and then that gives me minus 0.158. So my answers are 3.158 and minus 0.158. You could round them to 3.16 or minus 0.16 if you want to round them to 2 decimal places, but that's it. Now the bits to be careful of, just to remind you, are be careful of the minus b at the front. Be careful if the b is minus, be careful with squaring it. Don't just type it into your calculator. It might give you a thing called math error if this thing ends up being a minus. And just be very careful with the 4ac. I always recommend putting that in a bracket. Okay, so I hope that helps.